segue into the interview, Miss Liz.
Yes.
Got to make sure that we,
bring
you know.
it back.
All right. Bring it back.
All right. So for all the people that are listening, and I know that you've done a lot of interviews as of lately, can you please explain what it is that you do and why is it important?
Okay, so I do wear many hats. So are you talking about in my capacity of
Probably with the protest. I would say probably just in with this particular topic that we're talking about.
So I am the president of National Lawyers Guild, but we consider ourselves a leaderless organization, which means that everybody is a leader. Okay. And we all play very important roles. My role is usually to facilitate how we respond to political, disputes. So we sponsor bills, we lobby for bills. We are always on the side of social justice, which is simply human rights over property interests. That's simple. It's so simple.
Say that again, please.
Yeah. Human rights over property interests.
I wanted to
it's just
as
simple as that.
I wanted her to say it because for the people who hate looters.
You know what I mean? and I want to address that too. It's like people are coming for me because I spelled America with 3 Ks. Like, you want to come for me about a spelling? You're not offended by the fact that Breonna Taylor's officers, the ones that killed her, are still roaming free,
walking around?
And every other officers that are roaming free? That's what's offensive. Don't get offended by spelling or curse words. That's not offensive.
No, it's offensive to them because there's a divide. They can't feel it. If it doesn't, most people, if it doesn't affect them directly, then it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna say this over and over again. If anything about what we say about racism offends you, you are racist, or you are enabling racism.
Facts.
I am not apologizing for anything about pointing fingers at our country about what we're doing wrong.
Facts.
And if that offends you, you're part of the problem.
I'm waiting till she's done.
Yeah, man. That's it. That's it.
Facts.
And it should be like that with everybody.
Everybody.
So do not defend this shit. It's like a relationship with a narcissistic sociopath.
Yo, facts.
You're gaslighting the shit out of all of us when we're telling you what's wrong with you.
This is why I post the way I post.
Yeah.
Everybody has a responsibility.
Yep.
There are some peaceful protesters. There's some intellectuals. There's some lawyers. There's some attorneys. There's some killers. There's some lovers. There's some fighters. There's some looters. Yo, we all want the same thing.
Yeah,
we're all on the same page.
And it's not that hard. Racism is wrong. Period.
Facts. And
why
how
are
you
you
gonna tell me? How you gonna tell me how to act when you keep killing us?
Yeah, and not only that, not only is racism wrong, but it's killing us.
Facts.
It's not even just wrong; it's killing people.
Where did she come from?
Well,
I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean that's it.
No, it is.
How did I not know you yet?
Well, you know me now.
Now we know each other. Yes.
And so, back to answering the simple question: we're out there to monitor police brutality. Period.
Policing the police.
Policing the police.
Yes.
They hate us for it, but listen, somebody's got to do it.
How do I sign up?
Man.
So
we're recruiting.
Yes, and please, we're gonna give all the information in the comments and in the description, all of that to link to some solutions.
Yeah.
So while you've been out there and you've been policing the police, what have you seen with your own 2 eyes? Because according to the media, it's rioters, it's looters, we're destroying everything, we're animals. So what have you seen? Because there's been a lot of conflicting information, and I think it's important to get accounts from the people that are actually on the ground.
I want to say thank you very much for that very important question. So I moved to Sacramento in 2006 from the Bay Area, fresh out of jail. I'll get into that later. I came here to go to school. I was wronged by the system. I'll just say it real quick. I was busted with a little amount of pot, less than an eighth. I had a scale, so they got me for felony sales, intent to sell.
Yikes.
So I was sentenced 9 months and served 6 of those 9 months. And I was 19 at the time. I was in art school, second year in art school at Academy of Art, had a whole future ahead of me, and then I came out as a felon. So as you can imagine, my life was completely changed after that. I was treated like a felon. I was not given a job like a felon. I had to defend my honor and my integrity, and so I got a little taste of what y'all go through.
Wow.
Okay? So after that, I said, I need to know my rights. I don't know any of my rights. And then I realized everybody needs to know their rights, for crying out loud. That's how they're getting us out here. And that's what made me want to go to law school. So for the next 12 years, I dedicated myself to not only finishing school, then going to law school, then learning about my rights, but advocating for people's rights.
Nice.
And so I ended up in Sacramento to work here, and then the Capitol is here, so that's what motivated me. And so when I started working at the Capitol and started doing this activist work, I'm going to make it short in terms of answering your question.
Sure.
Nothing has ever been this bad in the streets. But there has been repeated actions of the government, city council, not caring about fixing this problem earlier on when it wasn't as bad.
Yes.
We've had so many people upset, but peacefully protesting, never looting. Not once have we ever had looting like this in our city, ever. Okay, this is unprecedented. We've done everything the way they wanted us to do it.
Facts.
We've gone to city council. We've
Facts.
gone and given public comment. We've come in there. We've tried to vote. We've opposed all of it, all the legal ways, the right ways that they wanted us to do it. And you know what? They were still mad at us.
Yes.
They were trying to pass ordinances to ban us from city council because they don't want to hear us talk. They didn't want to hear us swear or cuss or be loud. Like, oh, really? So we fought them on every one of those fronts. And now all of a sudden, because now we're looting, it's a problem. We've been told you for years.
Come on now.
That we're going to burn this shit down if you do it. If you keep going the way you're going.
Listen,
that's
burn it down.
10 years. I've been in this city for over 10 years, and we've been doing it the way they wanted us to do it. And guess what? Nothing changed.
Nothing.
Nothing changed.
Wow.
So now you're mad? Now you're mad? No, you deserve a little looting and then some.
It's crazy. It's crazy to hear people be emotional now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like, where's the emotion now?
I wrote one of my Facebook posts that I wrote was, I can't believe you're mad at looters when you're sitting behind your computer, you're not doing anything, you're not in the streets, you're not protesting, you're not walking. I haven't seen you out there.
But you know, the
the
twist of the looting, though, I want to say is they're not even us. That's
No,
the fucked up
facts.
thing.
Not us.
Is
Facts.
the looters are the kids that are just running around looking at an opportunity to just
Exactly.
act out. Us protesters are doing what we always been doing.
But would the
Or-
looters have
You
an
know,
opportunity if
peacefully.
would the looters have an opportunity to
Yeah,
loot if
yeah.
the police did their job and we didn't have to
And
be
you know
out
what?
there protesting?
And that's the other thing. The looters, I was out there on the ground on Saturday, right? The looters were looting for 20 blocks. The officers, we had Yolo County Sheriff, we had Davis PD, we had Sac PD, we had every PD out there, and they wanted to stand off with us peaceful protesters, while the looters were looting around for 20 blocks for over 2 hours doing their thing. It's like, why don't you go do your job
now they don't
and
want
go
the
get
police.
them?
But you're watching
Now
us.
they
Yeah,
don't
but you're
want
watching
police.
us and shooting us like dogs. Like
And we're peaceful.
Yeah,
You know,
that's-
it's I
this is all
made
kinds
a
of
statement,
twisted.
man. I said if this is the response we get, and
Yeah.
and it's just teenagers. Imagine if the OGs and the big dogs start getting
You know
fed
what I
up.
mean?
Imagine if the
Well,
imagine if
We
they
don't even
start-
have weapons out there. Imagine
Bro,
if somebody started
imagine.
bearing arms and started kicking
You know what I
stuff
mean?
off. You know what I
Really
mean?
gone.
Things got to change. This is-
And let's call it for what it is.
Yeah.
Because there's some things that are allegedly, but there's some things that are videotaped. There are white people out there looting
Oh,
and
yeah.
damaging
What?
and
Provocateurs.
spraying
Y'all know about
BLM
provocateurs?
on it. But then we were saying, and when I say we, I mean the people, we're telling them, stop doing this because we're going to get blamed for it.
Facts.
And when the police are mad and they want to, want to revenge or want to get back at us, they're going to put it out on us,
Facts.
not
Right.
on you.
Facts.
So you came down just to take a couple pictures, spray paint, break a couple things, and you can
What
go
was-
back to
what
They're
was
your
taking
nice home.
advantage
What we
of
ta-
the moment, and then they're blaming it on the protesters because they're like, well, if you guys weren't protesting, they wouldn't have the opportunity. But I don't care.
No,
We're not going to stop
no.
our message
That's
because
not our job.
It's
That's
not-
your
that's the
job.
police
Your
job.
Your
Come on.
job
Your
is
job.
to stop the looters.
See,
Yes.
That's not our job.
that's
What are
pretty
you
much-
Well, and you have the National Guard, you have all these other resources,
Bro,
so it's
you-
not like that you
you-
can't do
all
it.
these people.
You know what I
Come
mean?
on.
You know, I'm telling you, they had all the officers from all surrounding areas, and guess what? They all had their badge numbers and IDs. Our SAC PD did not. That's a violation of a penal code.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do tonight without
Yo,
your badge numbers
I heard they
visible?
were hired.
I mean,
I
that's-
don't know how true this is,
yeah.
but we saw a video that I shared with that they had hired guns out there for looting. They had hired guns.
They had hired provocateurs.
Yes.
We have credible sources telling us that they are going around acting like medics, acting like they're going to render aid when they're really not on our side. So to me, you have eyes on the ground. You have 20 blocks of people looting,
Right.
and all of a sudden you meet us at J and 21st and you shoot us like dogs, and the looters are long gone.
Well,
Right.
and I want to speak to that, and then we're going to go on to the next question. The thing that I don't understand, and I think it's a very important point, that we do not accept these police officers kneeling and marching
Facts.
with us.
Yeah,
Because the
it's
thing that I don't understand is you're saying that, hey, we're with you, we're marching with you, et cetera, but there's been credible sources, and there have been video, and there have been pictures of undercover cops, infiltrators within the protesters. So for one thing, you're saying we're with you, but then you're sending in Trojan horses to make sure that you're keeping
Trojan
the peace.
horse is key. Yeah, we gotta call it out for what it is. So no more gimmicks, no more gestures. We don't want any more gestures. We are so beyond that right now.
This shit can get worse.
Changed policies.
It could get
changed policies. Nothing less.
No kneeling. We don't need you to kneel.
This is exactly what blows my mind is when people are upset, but this is exactly what America was built on.
Right.
Syphilis blankets, right? Christopher Columbus killing the Indians, taking their looting, pillaging, raping, burning. This is what America is built on. You cannot. The Boston Tea parties.
Before they had America, they were slaving themselves.
Come on, let's
White
go.
indentured servants. You know what I mean? That's just all they know.
This is exactly what it's built on. So if you're not game enough to fight on the level that they understand, then you're not game enough to get the change that you deserve. And that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. You have to fight America like America likes to fight. That's it. That's what they understand. They understand violence. They understand death. They understand burning. Let's not even talk about the stuff that they took from us. You know?
That's a whole nother podcast. A whole nother episode, excuse me.
Don't get me fired up.
I could tell.
I got my Nat Turner shirt on today. So Liz, can you speak to the importance of the internet and having independent media outlets like Black Zebra Productions? And because if it wasn't for smartphones or the internet, we would not be here with the evidence that we have. So can you speak? Because I know a lot of people have been following Black Zebra Productions and seeing exactly what is going on.
I want to say this. So the number one way for us to overcome the problem we have with propaganda in this country is who funds us, right? So we're a grassroots all the way. We refuse money from people that have an interest in changing our narrative. So in order to be completely independent with how we want to tell this story, we cannot owe or pledge to anybody who does not have our interest in mind.
Refuse to be propagandized.
Come
on, man. Come on, man. Don't do it.
Period. All the way. So that's how we stay afloat, you know, and that's why we're up against conglomerates with a lot of money, but we believe that in the end, truth will prevail, and people will see the truth and know it's the truth, because people are realizing now more than ever that we are being lied to, and that's why we're on the ground to expose the truth, and that's why podcasts like y'all are doing such an amazing thing, because you're talking about truth that isn't going to be, you know, tainted or censored. So
or bought. We ain't being bought.
Yeah, we're not for sale. We are not for sale.
I gotta give him one of those. Reverb Experiment would not be bought, and that, you know, that's one of the conversations that we had when we started.
Bro,
that
the very first conversation that we had when we decided.
We said that, and for Photo B, please hop in. That we said we're not taking any ad money or sponsorship money if you are not a partner. If you are a partner that aligns with our goals and our vision, then we'll sit down and talk about it. But a lot of these people start podcasts because they want to make money. We want it to make change, and if you make money along the way, hey, by all means. But if we don't make a dime, I'm cool with that, because the bottom line is we don't have enough independent media outlets to be able to speak from our perspective.
So what you're saying is everything is propagandized. I'm telling you,
everything,
bro.
The whole sponsors, all that.
Everything, bro.
But in order for us to be able to sustain ourselves, we have to support each other. And that's how we're going to get through this. You know, and that's why we got to get the truth out there. And that's the new cycle, the new business plan that we have to create, is to support each other, get us through. You know, we don't need a lot. We just need to get through, but get the truth out there.
And stay together.
And stay together.
That's
real.
Bars.
Ooh,
That is absolutely the first conversation we had. We were on the phone 4 hours.
Man, I'm so proud of y'all for having that. That's so important. That's the key right now.
You gotta have you gotta have a vision.
I was walking through Kohl's returning whatever. You remember?
Yeah, I do. You were returning that light.
The light. Yeah, the light. I was walking through Kohl's, bro.
How's my battery over there? If it's, I should say, you know what? You guys got a sneak preview. Just catch the rest on the podcast.
Catch the rest on the
pod.
pod.
Can I get my phone so I could just say catch y'all on the? Somebody just give it to me.
What is wrong?
Photo BJ's cool. He got it.
What is
all
wrong
right.
with
Thanks
y'all?
for tuning in, y'all.
And they about to miss a good question.
Popping, huh?
So
Comments and stuff. Okay.
I've been stalking your Facebook page. I ain't gonna lie.
I know all of them are.
So
yeah.
I've been stalking.
I'm gonna take you back to March of 2018.
Okay.
So March of 2018.
Man. That's the day.
Yeah.
That's my brother's birthday, actually. So it hits me, and I'll never forget it. Yeah.
Okay, so you know where I'm going with this question.
Oh, yeah, I do know.
So March of 2018, Stephon Clark was murdered by the Sacramento police.
Yes.
A week later, Stephon Clark appeared on CNN with Don Lemon.
Right.
So talk to me about his growth. Because I think we were, and when I say we, I mean the general public, we were very critical of him.
Of course.
Even though we cannot relate to the grief that he was going through at that time.
Right.
And now in 2020, when we're leading George Floyd protests, I see him leading, and I see him speaking out, and I see him uniting the people. So talk to me about his growth between 2018 and 2020 and the importance on why we cannot just cancel somebody.
Yeah, I want to say this. I will say, first of all, Stephon has become a completely different person, but at the same time, he was always this person.
Thank you.
Okay, you don't just go from somebody who doesn't have what he has, and then all of a sudden have it. You always have it.
Right.
And that's what I want everyone to realize is that we all have it. We just have to tap into it. And if you just never had it, he wouldn't even be who he is today.
Right.
Okay, and so he was clearly grieving and hurt. And Stephon wasn't the only brother he lost to gun violence. So he's had a lot of trauma even before this even happened. And so when I first met young Stephon, you know, he was an upcoming rapper, really, you know, just unfocused, but had a lot of passion.
Right.
But I didn't even know what his potential was until these last several years where I got to know him on a personal level. And to have the guidance that he's been given has really developed him as a leader. I have a shirt that I didn't wear it today, but it says, you know, Tupac and Malcolm, and it had all the icons, right? And I said, I need your name to be on the shirt with them. And he was like, that's real, Liz. And he lives up to that today. And I think that it takes a person to not just have good guidance, but like I said, he has to have it in him. And he realized this is a platform, not just a platform, but an opportunity to make his brother's name a legacy.
Yes.
What is that legacy that you want?
Yes.
You know, is it anger? Is it hurt? Or is it true leadership to prevent this from ever happening again? And he took that, he owns it. And he asked me, he's like, do you know what it's like to be famous because your brother was killed?
Wow.
I don't even know who can
Well,
even answer that question.
that's the thing, though, man. Like, again, I just asked the same question. How do you tell someone how to respond?
And there's a lot of complexities there that I don't think any adult at any age could really be prepared to deal with, because you're constantly being accused of wanting the spotlight or, you know, monetizing on or capitalizing on your trauma and your hurt. And that's a lot for any human to even process. He is so young.
Right. And so I didn't like there are, in 2018, right, you know, a lot of people said there were antics or whatever. But like I said, how do you tell someone how to deal with grief? Now, if people cared that much, then there's a way to say, hey, then we can get some coaching, but you're not going to have someone contain their emotions.
Yeah, and it's easy to judge and criticize. So can we just love? Can we just?
I feel like a lot of that is rooted in, especially I know with
culture.
No, just with Black people, just how we care about how we're viewed by the oppressor. And it makes no sense because people are always like, oh, you're making us look bad. You're fitting into what they think about us. They gonna think that anyway.
Yeah, they're gonna think that. They're gonna say that about.
Why are we worried about that?
Yep.
Like, who cares about what other people are thinking?
It's the same thing with this looting thing. You care about what we look like.
Exactly.
But it's not us.
No one cared about
You're caring about what you're losing
rather than
instead of what we're losing.
You care about what we look like more than you care about the lives that we're losing. Trash.
What's more important?
Trash.
Stop living under the lens and the judgment of the oppressor. Stop trying to, because there's nothing that you could do. You know what I mean? And you see it when people say, oh, you know, like if something happens to somebody and they say, well, he was a professor, he had a good job, he did this, he paid. What does that matter? Like, I feel like they're trying to build this person up to make, well, white people, you should care about this person. Because, no. Like, why are you worried about
tell you what,
how they view you?
We all have pretty great careers, right? And if my black ass is walking on the sidewalk and there's a white family, bro, and a white woman, she's crossing the street.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how well we do or how, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're in a nice neighborhood right now. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good you. When I bought my house, my neighbor asked me, did I buy it or did I lease it? That's
See, as
that's
if
the
that's
kind
even
of
their
stuff.
business. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden, that's even your business.
But so it does, you know, even though I was purchasing, right? To her, I still wasn't qualified because I'm a young black man to be able to afford. You know what I'm saying? So you're right. It doesn't matter how well you do.
We are judging each other
based on how they feel.
That's crazy.
It's years of, like Tamika Mallory for Women's March. This is generations of mental illness that they've inflicted on us. That mental illness is real.
Trauma.
It's fucking us all up, all of us.
I know. I know. I got mental illness.
We all got mental. We're all traumatized by the oppression. All of us are oppressed.
Well, and we were talking to on our call yesterday. Photo B was on the phone with his grandmother, right?
Facts.
And you want to talk about that conversation, and then we're going to end up getting back to the next question. But I think that's an important point because you're talking about generations. She just said generations. We just heard a generational conversation about what's going on in this country. So
right, and pretty much I have nothing. I mean, my whole take on it was we definitely want change. We've been fighting for change, and there has been change, but we still aren't getting the change that we want, being as though there has been new things that are coming up.
Right.
You know, we are actually viewing things a lot more. We are hearing about things a lot more. So it gets a lot more people involved.
Yeah.
Now, being as though we're all seeing it, and a lot more people are getting angry about it because we are now seeing it. So the more people that we have collectively, we will hope that more change happens faster.
Facts.
And we know that it's not going to happen anytime soon, but we
hope
that
it's
it's
happening today.
It's happening right.
It's happening now.
This is
but
history,
I understand what you're saying.
I'm honestly afraid that I almost came to the conclusion that it's not going to get where we want it to get, ever.
Well, that's why we're doing the podcast.
He's also desensitized in a lot of
That's-
aspects.
I don't blame you.
He's entitled to his opinion.
No, but that's what he said. He said it. He said. Remember,
So can we break that down? Like, so where do we need to get to when you say that? What do you mean by that?
We needed to get to the point where how I was talking about before when it comes to things not just have to be on camera for convictions to happen.
Yeah.
It needs to happen just because it can happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
If
yeah.
somebody did something wrong, they need to be held accountable for what they did.
That's true.
100%.
So
I don't need it.
you live in the reality of it is what it's been. And you're
will
not
never
expecting
get to that.
super change right now because of history repeating itself in the continual cycle of systemic racism.
Absolutely. Until they stop putting the blame on specific cops and make it in the entire idea of how cops are, the entire system.
Yeah.
Not just at the police level.
Yeah.
It needs to go higher than that. It needs to go to upper ups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to have the IA in there a lot more. We need like more people involved in making shit happen.
Right.
Instead of it having to get to us, we get mad. It's like, shit, they're pissed off. We got to do something now before they get too mad.
Yep.
Like they need to
basically
all
what it
right,
is.
this is wrong. It's wrong. We need to handle this before it gets too bad.
So you feel like a lot of us. You feel like I said a little bit earlier, is that we're only here now because of the ensuing events after.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And the video.
Absolutely.
I agree.
So what if I told you that we completely defund law enforcement? Then what happens? Do you think that you would be a little bit more hopeful in things changing? Say we took out the whole entity of law enforcement, period, and we just replaced it with something else, like restorative counseling or, crime after the fact, which means that, once a crime happens, then we leave it to the courts to determine who gets charged and convicted of things, but just take out the law enforcement out of it. Would that look different to you?
That would definitely look different, but I'm not saying that would be the best idea just because
of rampant crime and things.
You want somebody to be an enforcer of some sort.
I want to be able to trust the cops.
Yeah, just be
100%.
accountable.
Yeah.
That's all I
Win.
ask for.
Win.
I just want to be able to trust them 100%.
Not even trust them, but just know that they're going to be held accountable.
Absolutely.
So this is what. So now I know
Trust
that
is a
I'm
hell of a
National
word
Lawyers
for
Hell of a
Guild
word.
policing the police, but from a policy perspective, I work at DOJ and I'm a professor, so I think about, okay, if we were to recreate this, what would it look like?
Right.
Because that's what I really want to encourage people to do and talk about and really discuss, because we do need a plan,
Right.
and we need to know what that might look like, and we need to push for those things just to try it out at the very least, because what we're doing now isn't working
It's
very
not
well.
working.
So we need an alternative. So we can't just say, well, this sucks, this is not going to work, and it's just going to always be like this.
Exactly.
We do need to think about, okay, so if we remove this from there, then what happens?
Right.
And if we replace that with this, then what happens?
Right.
So we gotta try.
We have to be extremely specific on what it is that we want, because that's one of the things. And we were talking in our group chat. that we listened to the Breakfast Club interview with Charlamagne and Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
And it was just a bunch of talking over each other.
Yeah.
And all I kept hearing was
They
white
went
supremacy,
together?
white supremacy, yes. All he kept saying was white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy.
I would not have taken on Rush Limbaugh. That guy, he just talks and does not stop.
Well, and if you're going to have him on your show, you should be extremely prepared to come up with solutions, because we're past talking about the problem.
Right. Yes.
I'm past talking about the problem.
Yep.
What's the solution? And my thing of it is like what Photo B was playing. There needs to be accountability.
Facts.
And let's finish and then we're gonna get through the solution, because I think we're getting it, man. I'm telling you, this interview and this just topic could really be like.
It could be its own
like
show.
a 10-part series or something.
Well, that's why I have my podcast. It's all about this and only this.
The Organized Voices.
Yeah, it's only about social justice.
When is that dropping?
Next Sunday.
Yeah,
6 to 8 p.m.
I'll be there.
Y'all can be on there with me. That's all we're going to be talking about. Every Sunday for 2 hours, that's all we're going to be talking about is social justice.
Hold on. So you said that we can be on the pod?
Of course.
What?
She's on camera?
Yep.
And
No, I
she's
might
on
as well
for-
do it here with y'all. Got the setup already.
All right. Yeah, no, definitely. So definitely check out Organized Voices. It's dropping next Sunday
at
from
6.
6 to 8.
Yep.
And where can we find it? YouTube, Spotify?
Rapstation.com, on YouTube. I have a website, organizedvoices.media.
Okay.
And my IG is going to have it too.
And we will have all those links in the description.
Yeah.
Yes.
To get to the interview. So we're talking about solutions. We're talking about finding an answer. So obviously the people that are most influential in that are activists, right? Activists and social injustice warriors.
Yep.
So you already answered my other question earlier, so I'm going to skip it.
She got
Alright.
bars, bro.
Yeah,
I was
bars,
just looking
yeah.
at the notes.
Many people are not aware of the sacrifices that many activists and community leaders have to make while fighting this fight. What has been the most costly sacrifice that you have made, and was it worth it?
Damn, I'm going to be real with you guys. I feel like I've sacrificed a normal life, a conventional life. Like, I don't date. I don't have any plans for marriage or kids for this fight. I can't do this with that, because I take parenting and being a mother and all that very seriously, and I can't do that and this at the same time.
Wow.
I have to be able to get called out to do this work, and I can't have little babies waiting for me to get home, that being on my mind while I'm out there. I need to be able to be ready to go get arrested, and I hate to be melodramatic, but I have to be ready to die for this shit. And I can't do it with a family at home. And so I didn't realize that I had made that decision, and it's been made more and more clear to me in the last year. I am not able to have a relationship or a family for this work.
Wow.
And is it worth it? Absolutely.
Man,
Somebody has to do it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, we feel like that about our regular careers.
Right.
Right.
Photo B and I. Like, hustle.
I mean, how can we? And that's what I'm saying. It's
hard.
like, so my
It's hard to balance
Instagram name is
relationships,
literally Busy Lizzie, right? And it was a running joke for years, right? And then this year, when 2020 came, I was like, I'm gonna make it still Busy Lizzie to be funny, right?
Right.
But it's actually not funny, because it's like, wow, I'm really,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because when I was in a relationship 2 years ago, I was like, it was on and off, and it was rough, and there were other problems with it. But mainly my whole thing when I looked at myself was, I'm not ready or able to give to this relationship the way that it deserves. And I'm like, I have to look at myself and take accountability for that.
So when men approach you and ask you, hey, can we go on a date? Can we do this? Whatever. Is it just a flat out no? Like, hey,
No, I have to admit, it's always been, when I have time, I'll get to you. And it's always been like, damn, you're so stuck up, or you're just so busy, you don't have time. And I hear that constantly, right? And I'm like, I should probably stop committing to things I can't commit to.
got it.
A proper date for her would be a protest.
I'd be like, meet me on the
If you
Capitol
wanna-
steps.
yeah.
Period. If you really real.
Yeah.
If you really real.
If you're trying to
I'ma
date
see
still
you out
Busy
there.
Lizzie,
Yeah,
meet me at the Capitol.
So that's real.
So
Yeah.
before all of this, protest and chill, huh? So before all of this,
Yeah.
That's pretty
did
good.
you have plans on having a family and
Of course.
getting
I
married?
mean,
And
I don't know that I've ever really was like crazy about having children, but I do know that if I ever did have one, that it wouldn't be an accident, that it would be consciously, a decision that I take very serious. I wanted my kid to be, a good kid, educated, know to not be racist and treat everybody with respect and equality and all that. Like, I really wanted like the right time and the right person and all of that.
And the foundation, yeah.
But then, and then just time kept going, and I'm immersed in this work, and it's like, I can't really even go there because I'm just so immersed in this work. It's a real thing. Yeah.
Wow, that's deep.
Man,
that's deep. So
yeah.
you sacrifice a lot.
I mean,
everything.
Everything.
This is why I get offended when people are like, when they have a stance against what's going on and they do nothing.
And that's why I get offended when someone tells me how to spell America. It's like, really,
how
bro?
Well,
right.
or when we hear people question.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
we've had people,
like,
like, he's had people question him.
Yep.
Like when we said you were going to be on the show, I've had people like, question me.
Facts.
I think Photo B has had some people question him, and it's like,
hey, you ruffle some feathers. You got that. People are scared of you. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
I mean,
they know better.
But again, we're not here to appease other people's perceptions.
No, how are you gonna get this much real if we're like, here's some show notes, and here you can't say this and you can't say that.
we're just all the way real.
You can't. You can't. And I want to hear the real perspective of someone who's really out there every day. And this This is the sum total. Like, this is almost like the sum total of all your life's work coming to a head where you can really impact it all at one time.
Right.
And I see it as an honor. Yeah. So that's why I don't pass it up, because dope. I feel like everything in life has a reason. Yeah. Things happen for a reason.
Hey, give her the applause button.
No, I really appreciate that.
I forgot which button it is.
I'm looking like, where the applause at?
Hey.
That's the controversial button. There we go.
So proud.
So
X-Files music.
Speaking of Netflix. Speaking of protest and chill.
Yeah.
If I were to go to a protest, these are for the listeners. Give us some tips. Give us some do's and some don'ts.
So protest.
Man. Okay. So there's two kinds of protesters. Well, there's several kinds of protesters, but it comes down to two. Either you're there for the right reason or the wrong reason, period. Because if you're there to really further this movement, it's not about glorifying or sensationalizing. It's not about that. So come with a little humility and a lot of just respect, okay? Because there's ways to disrespect the movement, and it really hurts us. That's it. So that's number one. And then two, your safety is very important. So please be wise. Don't come out there in shorts and a t-shirt running around going, la la la, fuck the police, and then you throw water bottles at the crowd, and then you run like a little pansy, and then the rest of us are getting tear gassed. Like, bro, stop that shit. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying.
Those are the people I want to enforce.
Exactly. It's like, I want to rat those little kids out. It's like, you're fucking it up for all of us. And we're the ones getting tear gassed. So I think it just goes back to having some respect, because we're fighting a real fight. This is a real fight out here. Yeah. And if you are brave enough to want to stand off with the police, then come prepared. Yeah. Because if you don't and you're running off, then the rest of us who have to stand ground are getting, are paying the consequences. Yeah,
getting shot at, getting tear gas.
And that's what I saw.
Rubber
and
bullets,
that's what I continue to see.
Getting rubber bullets in foreheads and stuff, man. I can't believe it.
They're aiming for our face, you guys.
And there's people there's a few people that have already lost their eyes to that because they got shot in the face.
Surgeries all this week.
Like the guy in Texas, the man in Texas, and then there was a young lady that lost his eye too.
Yep.
Lost her eye, excuse me.
Yep.
Was one of those out here? The young lady got shot in the forehead.
No, it was a young boy that got shot.
There's a young boy. There's actually 2 boys and a woman here.
Yeah.
In Sacramento, and we had one of our National Lawyers Guild legal observers get shot in the face.
Yeah, I was gonna say the guy that you're with, Danny,
Garza,
right? Yeah, Danny. Yeah, he got shot.
And he's former military veteran. He's out there, legal observing. We're supposed to be exempt. Congress has deemed us to be exempt from protests, so we're not participants. We're there to observe. Right. And for them to enforce a dispersal order, clearly telling us multiple times to get on the sidewalk, and then they shoot us in the head on the sidewalk, is some shit.
Right. And to be clear, you guys are neutral. You guys are just there to just make sure that...
And they know who you are.
They know who
you
are.
That's why you have the green hats on.
Right. Exactly. That say clearly legal observers. Plus, we've been around for 83 years. You can't miss us.
Yeah. And you guys are just there to make sure that people's constitutional rights are not being infringed, though.
Our fight is in the courtrooms. Okay,
Yeah.
that's where we fight them. On the streets, we're not there to fight them. We're there to observe them.
Right.
So for them to shoot us is a blatant sign of fuck you to us.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. It's not like you said, it's not like your name's not on a list of do not touch. You know what
I mean, that's what I'm saying. And so it's a disorganization of their own organization because top down will deny all day that they allowed that. So it's men on the ground that are doing that, and they're just not able to control it or take responsibility for it.
We've seen footage.
Yeah, I mean, you know what happens.
You can't. It's we're at the point right now where there's no denial. There's no
yeah,
excuse.
there is no excuse.
The only excuse is you hate black people. That's
you don't
it.
care.
And anybody who supports or defends them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How much more do you need to see? Burn this bitch down.
With that being said, now that we have the world's attention, what is next? How can we help? Mm-hmm. What are some good organizations to donate to or to connect with?
Oh man, first and foremost, really push the narrative of the truth, because all of us are so brainwashed that to me is the most heartbreaking thing when I talk to a young kid, like coming out of high school, and they don't know what to believe because they're watching too much TV or watching the movies or what have you. They're married to their products and their capitalistic businesses that they support, and so and they look at athletes that are like sponsored by Burger King and shit. You know what I mean? So they're not really like they don't know what.
By Burger King?
Hey, LeBron James took a sponsorship from Burger King, and it broke my heart. I was like, come on, LeBron.
I didn't know Burger King sponsored
This was
anybody.
earlier in his day. But when he first did that, I was like really in protest about that. I was like, come on, man. Kids are looking up to you, man.
Yeah.
Burger King, though. Anyways, so things
they got
just
plant-based Whopper now.
Yeah. Push the narrative, and stay informed. Know to read between the lines when you're watching the news. Do your research. I always say intellectual humility, knowing that you don't know it all. So go and learn for yourself what the truth is. That's key.
You said read between the lines when you're watching the news.
Yeah, know to question the shit that's
exactly. Don't be propagandized.
Yeah, that's key. And it really all starts with ourselves. Everyone is so quick to be like, well, you're wrong because of this. No, how about you're wrong because just look at ourselves. Like that's what I always say. Is just internalize. Just look at.
That's what we talk about. We talk a lot about.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of talks on this podcast about trauma.
Right.
Because you have to know thyself.
Yeah.
Right?
What are your biases and how are they formed?
Right. You know. Childhood.
What's funny is that the conservative talking points are usually we don't want to be held accountable for what we do.
Right.
It's like you guys always blaming other people.
Else.
Yeah.
We never say that.
Yeah.
Both can be true. We can hold ourselves accountable for what we are responsible for, but there are also factors that lead to behaviors, that lead to conditions, that lead to where we're at as a people. So both can be true, and it's always black or white, one or the other. I know you're about to say something. Go ahead, Steph.
No, I was going to say you can't talk about the disaster of the end result and not talk about the perfect storm that led up to that. Like you can't paint the whole picture. The whole picture, not just a piece of it.
Yeah.
There's things that lead up to these final
historically, black our history starts at slavery. Right?
Right.
That's what we know.
Well, that's what we were taught.
That's what we were taught in America.
That's what we were taught.
Yeah.
There is a history beyond slavery, right? So like you said, we don't know the whole narrative, but we do know Willie Lynch. We do know slavery. We do know 400 and some odd years of being beaten and oppression. And then we do know that when you're free, you're not really free. We know they're still lynching us. They're shooting us, right?
Yeah.
This is what we know. So how when you address why we are the way we are, you have to go back and observe the actions that caused us to be that way.
I'll go as far as to take one step further and go out with this, right? With this, the problem here. Police aren't even the root of the problem. The police are a byproduct of the problem because they were created to be pitted against the people, right? So they don't even know how fucked up they are and how they are a result of a system that is rooted in evil, right? And they can't even admit that. And that's even sadder for them because we know what the problem is. They don't even know what the problem is.
Well, some of us don't. And that's why we're here today.
Yeah, and that's why we got to keep talking and discussing.
So what are some good organizations? Because I think there's a lot of people that got a lot of energy, but don't know where to put it. So and there's a lot of money being thrown around. So where can we donate? Where can we connect with? Where can we?
There's an anti-police Terrorist Project here in Sacramento.
Okay.
So that's a local one that you want to support. There's another one, Anti-Recidivism Coalition. If you want to attack this problem, in a real significant way, the way that they're enslaving us is through the prison systems, criminalization. So Decarcerate is a huge organization. Cut 50 is a huge organization. We have to do something about our criminal justice system. That's like top 2 and our top 3 of our national issues.
Yes.
So decriminalizing, decarcerating, getting our brothers and sisters out of the criminal system is the one big way to set our people free.
It's getting us out of the criminal system is one way, but then what about felonies that remain? What about misdemeanors? So is there a way?
So I'm pushing. So this is the thing, right? I'm a felon, right? I'm a former felon. I had it expunged in 2011, and here I am still. I've been hired as chief counsel at the state bar and was fired within a week because of my background.
Wow.
That was just last year.
Wow.
And now I'm at DOJ, and so it's like these different entities looking at me differently because of the little F on my record, right? Some bullshit, right?
As a child.
Yeah, 19 years old. I'm a whole different person at that time. So my thing is, why is it that credit reports will drop shit off in 7 years, but our expunged shit stays forever, right? So that's a policy change. We need people in the legislature. We need people changing laws.
Well, that's the game, though.
Yeah,
like you said,
that's
right?
what I'm saying.
That's the game.
Yeah.
You incarcerate, you disable, right? And then you pass
and then
it
you're
on
marked
to the next,
forever.
And you pass it on to the next generation.
Yep.
Not even just mark, but you also probation. Years and years.
So you're really
you can't own a firearm
No,
forever.
you're
I'm a
talking about
woman
the
living
whole
by
system.
myself, and I can't own a gun during a pandemic when somebody could just come and rob me, and I don't have any way of protecting
Because
myself.
Come on, bro.
Come on.
So what you're talking about, again, you're still talking about that cycle. This is stuff that we talk about on our podcast all the time. We're talking about the cycle of, this is what systematic racism is.
Yeah.
You put them in jail,
Yeah.
get them early, 14, 15 years old, try them as an adult.
Yep.
You disable their ability to make money.
Yep.
You take away the ability for them to establish credit.
Yep.
And they can't own anything because they don't have money and they don't have
And
credit.
that's how they own
They
it.
have children, they put you on child support.
Yep.
Rip you to shreds.
And they want you to buy $600 Jordans.
Right.
Go into debt to buy some products
Come
so that
on,
you can
man.
look like you're balling, but you're
Come
really
on.
not balling, and you'll
Yo,
never be balling.
Man, don't even get me started.
Yeah.
on
Well,
Jordan.
and then when you do
Bars, though.
and then when you do gain knowledge,
I know. I'm with you.
Don't get. He's
I'm
so
with you.
late.
and
bro.
then when you do gain the knowledge, then you can't vote, right? Because
Right.
if you have a
Because
felony,
you
then
already
you
have a
can't vote.
felony.
So, so I will say this. Organizations are great. It's just one step, but I'm telling everybody to be informed, get educated as much as you can, and get in the positions of power in our governments. That's really how we affect change. And because I don't want to say, oh, just go vote. It's not that simple.
No.
We need to vote with candidates that are for us,
look like
and
us and
we
talk
it
like
needs to
us.
be us in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah.
voting. It needs to be us running. So run for office.
How many times?
let's go.
How many times
Yeah.
have we had the conversation that it starts with? I have to do this because I always talk about this. We need to take these youngsters and we need to guide them through the legal system, the education system, the legal system, high school, college. We need to take them to law school because we have to plant our people in these positions like they plant their people in those positions.
Well,
So-
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so one of my hats is I manage campaigns. Anybody who wants to run for office, I will not charge to run your campaign.
Whew.
If you are wanting to run for office and represent our people, I will manage your whole entire campaign and get you, walkers, all that for free. I will not
Bars.
charge because this is about the movement. That's movement work. I never take money for movement work, period.
BJ, you gonna run?
We need somebody running for
Why was
office.
I literally just thinking about it? And no.
Okay.
No.
I got a record. I can't run.
You got a record?
I
It
got a
doesn't
record.
I know you
matter.
got a record too.
Whoa.
It don't matter.
I do
We gonna
have a
talk about
record.
this later.
Yeah,
I didn't
we'll
know
talk about
that.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it later.
Wow.
Don't let your record stop you. Look at Trump.
I don't know enough.
Come on
Excuse
now.
me,
Well,
all
Let's
rules are out the
go.
window.
Go bring the bell.
All
Bring the
bets are
bell.
off.
Bring
All bets
it.
are off. You know what I
Bring
mean?
it.
Don't let your fake record
Hey.
keep
All right.
you.
Bro,
Come
you
on
did
now.
that when you were 18.
We gonna talk.
Okay.
It wasn't 18.
Oh.
We gonna talk. We gonna talk a little later.
I'm done.
All right, so we got
Right.
some good organizations.
Yep.
They will be in the descriptions, so that way we can link them up.
Yep.
I think this is an important conversation. I know
Absolutely.
for me, I'm always trying to educate myself, and I
Good.
think we have to understand what the core. And I think this is what you were talking about.
Yep.
This is what you were talking about. And Steph's been talking about it too. We have to talk about the core of what racism is.
Right, and how
Right.
that-
So
that
before
bleeds.
yes, so before we get to the internet wins today, we want to absolutely thank Miss Liz for coming in and giving us just all this insight, knowledge, the bars, this is all great conversation, and we're gonna keep it rocking. So we're gonna let's go. If you just let us go, let's go.